Several years ago, I worked as a psychologist for a cancer center. And one of the things I noticed there is that when people were terminally ill, they wanted to talk about their anger. It's almost as if they needed to be validated for why they felt the way they did, why they had held grudges for years, like they needed to unload it on somebody, but it had to be someone who wasn't afraid of their anger and who also could understand and validate their feelings. On today's Reaction Reset, I'm talking about how to let go of anger and grudges from the past. The thing about anger is it's not the bad guy. Anger happens in the limbic area of the brain, which is the most primitive part of the brain. So when you get angry, what happens is you have a response to make. It's a fight or a flight. It has saved our generations for thousands and thousands of years. The problem today is the limbic system can get stimulated and you're told, I better fight or flight. But what happens if you don't have to fight and you don't have to flight? That anger sits there and it ends up causing you to take an action that isn't always in your best interest. Whether or not you know it, when you hold these things in, and there's many people right now in society holding in anger, that stuff can kill you. And the worst part is, anger doesn't die as it gets older. Anger digs in its roots. You will end up not only destroying your emotional health, but you're going to destroy your physical health. Anger takes its toll on the whole body, but even worse, it takes its toll on everyone you ever loved, and eventually it will destroy you too. These suggestions are for you to practice. Don't wait until you're on your deathbed to make a peace and to let your anger go. The first step is to acknowledge the hurt. Listen, someone did something to you that hurt you. That's real. But it doesn't mean you should go after them. Instead, write it down. Your job is to get it out of your head and onto the paper. You're going to write everything down. The more details you have, the better. You can add to it. Just keep it in a journal. Keep adding to it. However, this is really the important part. After you write the whole thing down, destroy it. It's not going to do you any good to send it to someone. It's not going to help that person you send it to either. It's more important that you get it out of your head, you catharsis it onto paper, and then you destroy it so you can let it go. The second step is to make a decision to forgive. Now listen, forgiveness doesn't mean you condone it. You shouldn't condone it. Some things are so hurtful. How could you ever do that? But at the same time, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. If you choose to forgive, that's an action you give. You're freeing yourself. It's like being tied down and somebody gives you a knife and you're able to cut the ropes that tie you down. You are freeing. You're elevating yourself to become a full human, alive person again. You don't have to carry that junk from the past. The third step is consider the trade-off if you don't let go of the grudge. When you hold a grudge, it stunts your growth. So you stop at that point. If you look at the people that you have a grudge against, they went on. Some of them got married, they had babies, they got divorces, some of them died. Who cares? In fact, you don't even care. You're probably bored with your grudge. You have to keep bringing it back to keep it alive. When you consider letting go of it, you'll see, oh my goodness, I have a whole life I've never lived. And that's the scary feeling. That's what keeps you attached to it. Because as long as you remind yourself, you can fill that void. But what a terrible, miserable way to live. It's much wiser if you let it go and begin reinvesting in yourself to fill that void that grudge has been holding so long. The last step is to practice and build grace. If you took one morning and just journaled, wrote down every grace that's afforded to you, you would have a page full. It's in that same spirit that you start thinking, where can I afford grace to others? I mean, Just taking all the time is not going to build grace. Being able to compare, okay, I can give grace here because I was afforded grace with this, will help you understand the more you give, the more you can receive back. It's a healthy way to rebuild and also help fill that emptiness that you may feel from the let go grudge. As I told you earlier, feelings that are buried don't die. They dig deeper. So take the risk and give yourself permission to free yourself and find joy again. Give up the grudge. Give up the anger. It's not serving any purpose anymore. You don't need it. Remember, change your reaction, change your world.